Here are today's severe weather outlooks, and it still remains pretty active. We do have some lulls over the next 7 days, but also some pretty significant events, including, of course, today. Hi, I'm meteorologist Ted Keller. Let's take a look at this. This has been evolving for the last several days, and I've been talking about this threat since Wednesday, really. And, it's been a little more amplified each day we look at it. So here's the outlook for today, Saturday. We have a level 3 out of the 5 in terms of just widespread coverage of any severe weather. That's basically what this means. So we're talking about tornadoes, wind, and hail, and we'll break down each of those by category here in a second. But we have a large area of severe thunderstorm risk that runs from Michigan all the way down to Amarillo, Texas. So, and much of Missouri, Kansas, and a corner of Oklahoma is included in this elevated risk area here, this level 3 out of 5. So wind and tornado possibilities are probably top of the list. Hail is there, but let's just show you the tornado risk for today. This has been evolving and morphing and expanding, quite frankly, over the last 24 hours especially. Now, these are forecast by the Storm Prediction Center. And so what you're seeing here is a percentage chance of a tornado within 25 miles. So the green is 2, and the brown area here is 5. 5 is a respectable number. 2 is almost like a blanket that's thrown out whenever there's any risk of severe weather. But when you get up to 5%, that's a little more significant, obviously. Then, if you're wondering what this black area here is, this is when the SPC determines its worth actually going into the records and comparing and seeing what intensity in this particular type of severe weather setup of tornado are we looking at. So if you just look at the percentages here, if you add up anything from an EF2 and stronger, you add 14, 5, and 1 together, you get 20. So there's basically a 20% chance or a 1 in 5 chance that any tornado that develops would be in that category stronger. But the vast majority of any tornadoes that develop will probably be weaker. So just so you know, and I'm thinking that most of the tornado threat with this is going to be with a squall line that eventually develops and moves, something like that. Although there could be a few isolated cells that develop out here, and it's kind of a messy situation this morning. And those might be supercells too that would be producing lone tornadoes, not squall line tornadoes. Just again, a tornado is a tornado in terms of people who are just wanting to know if there's going to be one. But the type does matter to some folks. Storm chasers would be one category. So here's a NATOcast on Saturday, and this is a 5% chance, just about in that same area. So, stretching from Emporia around there through Chanute, that area, into southwest Missouri, covering all of southwest Missouri in that 5% risk. I wanted to show you StormNet because it's kind of giving you an idea here. This is tornado risk by hour. So it maximizes, this is 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. And so there's definitely an implied, I think, squall line here with embedded tornadoes possible. And that's going to be approaching again from that direction. And we'll start obviously up here and then work its way down. And if I showed you all the slides by hour, it would indicate that. The threat would decrease slowly beyond 10 o'clock, but not completely. The atmosphere is very unstable. Whether it actually supports tornadoes is a little bit of a question mark in terms of really bad ones. But it's always possible that some sort of small-scale process could occur in this type of situation. That's why I watch it a lot. Severe wind risk today is maximized at a 45% chance of a 59-mile-per-hour gust. I had a question in the comments about this, and I will convert this eventually, but this intensity scale here, the KTS right there is knots. This little indicator right here is nautical miles per hour, which is almost the same as miles per hour but you can add about 5 to each of these in these lower levels. So here, and again, it's meant to mean that the Weather Service considers a severe wind gust to be 59 miles per hour or greater, okay? And hurricane force winds are up around 75. That's not what's being indicated here, although there are percentages for that. So you could look here, but the idea of getting it beyond into that yellow zone is only a 10% chance of that particular one. And again, this adds up to 16% total. So again, but it's a squall line that's expected to develop here. That's why that purple area has a high percentage assigned to it, because that's when it's forecast to be at its peak. And then the severe hail is when these storms initiate, basically, and that's the takeaway from this, is this 30% area of severe hailstones, that's a 1-inch hailstone or greater, is maximized again during the storm initiation period, which is going to be there in northeast Kansas, northwest of Kansas City, and including a chunk of northwest Missouri as well. And most of that hail is going to be remaining, probably more than half of it, 1 to 1.5 inch, with lower probabilities of it being larger than that. We'll come back to the CSU outlook. It maximizes the tornado percentage right there in southeast Kansas. Little blip there of 5%, but a large 2% covering all of Missouri and stretching all the way back to the Texas and Oklahoma panhandle. The hail threat is actually maximized by this particular product way out in Oklahoma, but the wind threat is again real and substantial, 30% chance. So that covers today. For folks living in the Ozarks, I'm going to evaluate this a little bit later on this morning and issue a heads-up video, and including some radar estimations, things like that. But we'll wait for the update from the SPC, which is at 11:30, and then take it from there. Then we'll just turn pages to Sunday. The severe weather risk shifts to PA, Pennsylvania, and over into New York and parts of the Virginia, and a little sliver of North Carolina, and includes some pretty major metropolitan areas, so that's an issue for them tomorrow. There is a little bit of a tornado risk with that, a 2% chance, kind of splattered there across the Northeast. But wind, again, organized squall line is what you would take away from that red color right there, down through the Carolinas and through parts of Virginia. Then it quiets down. Monday, not much to talk about, little tornado threat there. In New Mexico, same with the hail, a little bit of wind threat with that leftover stalled front in the southeast. Tuesday is a quieter day, kind of a widespread, low risk of severe weather if they're in that corridor. And then Wednesday, things go crazy again. So this is the severe weather outlook for Wednesday from the Storm Prediction Center. 15% chance of any severe weather within 25 miles. It includes like the northern 3/4 of Missouri, eastern Kansas, Iowa. Some of these areas have gotten a lot of severe weather here lately, including the heart of Illinois that had all those tornadoes for 2 days, really. This is where I spotted that tornado. What was that, on Wednesday? So it's been pretty active over at the Indianapolis. And let me show you CSU's take on that. That's actually pretty intense. So they have a 45% chance of any severe weather centered right around Columbia, Jefferson City there in Missouri. And this is the Storm Prediction Center's forecast for reference. So you can see they're kind of fine-tuning it right in the core of that. And there's certainly room to do that. This is many days out. So there'll be room, of course, to tweak this and look at more details as we get closer. Then it all shifts on Thursday to the East Coast, basically. So Ohio, Pennsylvania, good chunks of West Virginia and Virginia are included in that outlook. And for reference, that's what I just showed you. And this is how CSU sees it, a little more sinking down along the front into Oklahoma and Texas. And then we'll finally end up here with the NIU outlooks. This sums up the next 7 days and does so quite well. That's just the percent chance of a supercell. And the supercell is really the core of most severe weather. So that is for the next 7 days. 7 days after that, which is the 20th through the 26th. The shift, stable air here, but the shift kind of goes along a combination of stall fronts that takes it from the Virginia area, Carolina area, back up through the high plains, and then pretty widespread again. But this product is week 3. It's the most variable of all of them, obviously, since it's a forecast for a longer distance into the future. But it does show a pretty active supercell generation there the last couple of days of June and right before the 4th of July.